Some bikes don't make headlines, but they earn trust on the road. These are the motorcycles that start every day, run for years, and never ask for attention. No hype, no drama, just pure reliability. So today we're looking at the most reliable motorcycles of 2026 that no one really talks about, the quiet legends that last longer than most riders expect. Let's begin. Number 8. Honda CB500F. The Honda CB500F is one of those motorcycles that rarely gets attention online, yet riders who own it know exactly why it deserves a place on this list. It represents pure, honest reliability, the kind that comes from an engine designed to work effortlessly for years without stress. Powered by Honda's proven 471cc parallel twin, the CB500F produces about 47 horsepower and 43 newton-meters of torque, which may sound modest, but that's exactly why it lasts so long. The engine doesn't strain itself, it just runs smooth and steady mile after mile. At around 416 pounds curb weight and with a 30.9-inch seat height, it is easy to balance, easy to handle in slow traffic, and comfortable for riders of different sizes. The chassis is simple, the maintenance is straightforward, and the bike doesn't rely on complicated electronics that can fail or become expensive later on. Riders commonly report these engines reaching 100,000 plus kilometers, with nothing more than regular oil changes and basic care. The CB500F doesn't shout, it doesn't try to impress, it simply shows up every day and does its job, whether that's commuting, weekend rides, or long-distance travel. In a world full of loud marketing and motorcycles trying to prove something, the CB500F remains quietly dependable, and that is exactly why it belongs on this list. Number 7. Honda Shadow Phantom 750. The Honda Shadow Phantom 750 is one of those motorcycles that rarely shows up in flashy reviews, yet it has quietly built a reputation as one of the most reliable cruisers of all time. Powered by Honda's long-lived 745cc liquid-cooled V-twin, it produces smooth and steady torque that feels relaxed rather than rushed, which is exactly why the engine lasts so long. With a low 25.8-inch seat height and a curb weight around 553 pounds, the Shadow feels planted and balanced at low speeds, perfect for daily riding, weekend trips, or long scenic routes. Its shaft drive system means no chain maintenance, no mess, and fewer parts to wear out over time, which is a huge reason owners keep these bikes for 10 to 20 years. The fuel injection is simple, the cooling system is durable, and the engine is known to easily run well past 100,000 kilometers with basic maintenance. There are no complicated electronics, no overtuned engine, no fragile components, just a strong frame, a dependable motor, and classic cruiser comfort. The Shadow Phantom doesn't need attention or applause. It simply starts, runs, and keeps running year after year. In a world full of high-tech bikes trying to be noticed, the Honda Shadow is the motorcycle that proves reliability is a legacy, not a feature. Number 6. Kawasaki Versys 650. The Kawasaki Versys 650 is one of the most dependable, do-everything motorcycles that almost never gets talked about, yet riders and mechanics alike know how unbelievably long-lasting this machine is. Powered by a proven 649cc parallel twin that has been refined for years, it makes around 67 horsepower and 61 newton-meters of torque, delivering smooth, mid-range power that's perfect for real-world riding, not racing, not showing off, just riding. What makes the Versys 650 stand out is how uncomplicated and honest it is. The engine runs cool, doesn't strain itself, and is known for crossing 100,000 plus kilometers with basic maintenance. At about 476 pounds curb weight and with a comfortable 33.1-inch seat height, it balances low-speed control with long-distance comfort. The upright riding position reduces back and wrist fatigue, and the suspension is tuned to handle rough roads, potholes, and even light touring without complaint. The ABS brakes, strong frame, and predictable steering make it one of the most confidence-inspiring bikes you can take anywhere. And here's the key. The Versys 650 isn't built to impress in a showroom. It's built to last in the real world. Riders keep these bikes for years because they simply don't quit. It's the quiet kind of reliability, dependable, steady, always ready for the next ride, and that's why the Versys 650 earns its place on this list. Number 5. Honda CB1100. The Honda CB1100 is one of those rare motorcycles that feels like it was built with patience, pride and respect for the rider. It carries the DNA of Honda's legendary UJM era: simple engineering, timeless styling, and performance that doesn't fade with age. Powered by 1140cc air and oil-cooled inline-4, it delivers around 89 horsepower and 91 newton-meters of torque, but the power comes in smoothly, without rush or strain. This is important because low engine stress is exactly what gives the CB1100 its reputation for running well past 100,000 plus kilometers with basic maintenance. The engine is overbuilt, running cooler and easier than many modern high-compression designs. At around 540 pounds curb weight with a 31.3-inch seat height, the CB1100 feels planted and stable, especially at cruising speeds, yet surprisingly manageable in everyday riding thanks to its balanced chassis and low center of gravity. It has no complicated electronics, trying to impress just fuel injection, ABS, and Honda reliability, wrapped in a design that feels honest and confident. The upright riding position is comfortable, the seat is supportive, and the wide handlebars give you gentle, accurate control. The CB1100 doesn't beg for attention. It earns it quietly by starting every day, riding smoothly, and never letting you down. It's the kind of motorcycle that reminds you that quality never goes out of style. Number 4. Honda NC750X. The Honda NC750X is one of the most practical and quietly reliable motorcycles ever built. Yet it rarely gets the attention it deserves because it doesn't try to be flashy. Powered by Honda's 745cc long-stroke parallel twin, it produces around 58 horsepower and 69 newton-meters of torque. But the engine is tuned to run at low RPMs, meaning it works less, stays cooler, and lasts significantly longer than high-revving alternatives. The NC750X routinely reaches 150,000 plus kilometers with just routine oil and filters, which is something very few modern bikes can claim. At roughly 472 pounds curb weight and with a 31.7-inch seat height, it feels balanced and surprisingly easy to handle. Thanks to its low center of gravity, the engine is actually tilted forward to keep weight down low. One of its smartest features is the front storage compartment where a fuel tank would normally be, allowing riders to store a full-face helmet or essentials, which makes daily riding and touring incredibly convenient. The optional DCT, dual-clutch transmission version, eliminates clutch fatigue entirely, making riding smoother for those who prefer relaxed control. The NC750X isn't trying to impress anyone on the street. It exists to work, to ride, to travel, and to do it all while being inexpensive to maintain and remarkably fuel efficient. It is one of the motorcycles that simply doesn't quit, and that's exactly what reliability is all about. Number 3. Suzuki V-Strom 650. The Suzuki V-Strom 650 is one of the most quietly legendary motorcycles when it comes to long-term reliability. Riders call it the V-Strom, and it has a reputation for going 200,000 plus kilometers with nothing more than basic maintenance oil, filters, and tires. Its 645cc V-twin engine produces around 70 horsepower and 62 newton-meters of torque, but what matters most is how smooth and relaxed that engine feels. It doesn't strain, it just hums along mile after mile. The V-Strom 650 is built for real-world riding, not racing, not showing off, just riding anywhere, anytime, without worrying about breakdowns. At around 476 pounds curb weight, it strikes a balance between being sturdy for touring and manageable for everyday use. The 32.9-inch seat height and upright posture make long rides far more comfortable than many sport or cruiser setups. It has excellent wind protection, a forgiving suspension, and a frame designed to handle rough back roads just as confidently as highways. Fuel economy is strong, maintenance costs are low, and parts availability is excellent worldwide. One reason travelers trust it for cross-country and even round-the-world journeys. The V-Strom 650 is not loud, flashy, or trendy, and that's exactly why it's here. It's a bike that simply keeps going year after year, making memories instead of problems. This is reliability in its purest form. Number 2. Yamaha XSR 700. The Yamaha XSR 700 is one of those motorcycles that blends modern engineering with old-school riding feel, yet it rarely gets the recognition it deserves because it sits quietly in the shadow of more aggressive street bikes. Powered by Yamaha's legendary 689cc CP2 parallel twin, it produces around 73 horsepower and 67 newton-meters of torque. But the real magic is in the engine's character. The torque delivery is smooth, consistent, and incredibly predictable. predictable. This engine has earned a reputation worldwide for lasting well over 100,000 kilometers with minimal internal wear, simply because it doesn't stress itself. The XSR 700 weighs only about 410 pounds curb, making it one of the lightest mid-size bikes available. And the 32.9-inch seat height, combined with upright ergonomics, gives it a relaxed posture that works for both city riding and open road cruising. The build philosophy here is simplicity, no overcomplicated electronics. No unnecessary tech layers, just traction control, ABS, and a throttle that responds exactly how you expect. The styling is classic, with round headlamp, clean tank lines, and a timeless silhouette that will not look old even after a decade. What makes the XSR 700 truly stand out is how natural it feels. It becomes an extension of the rider. It asks for almost no effort, no adjustment, no learning curve. It just works every day, every ride. Number 1. Yamaha FJR 1300. The Yamaha FJR 1300 is one of the most quietly legendary motorcycles in the world of long-distance riding. Yet it rarely gets talked about in modern reviews because it isn't flashy or trendy, it's simply built to last. Powered by a 1298cc inline-4, the FJR 1300 makes around 145 horsepower and 138 newton-meters of torque. But what makes it special is how effortlessly the engine delivers that power. It doesn't strain, it doesn't overheat, and it doesn't complain, which is why many FJR 1300s easily exceed 200,000 to 300,000 plus kilometers with routine oil and filter service. The bike uses a shaft drive system, removing chain wear and making maintenance simpler and cheaper over the long run. At about 637 pounds curb weight, with a 31.7-inch seat height, the FJR is stable, planted, and designed for real-world comfort, especially on highways and long trips. The adjustable windscreen, supportive seat, and upright riding posture make hours of riding feel surprisingly easy. Police agencies and endurance riders worldwide choose the FJR 1300 because it is predictable, durable, and unshakably reliable, even under constant use. The FJR isn't trying to impress crowds or chase trends. It's a motorcycle built for riders who value long-term trust over temporary excitement. And in a world full of disposable machines, that makes it truly unforgettable. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who rides, and tell me in the comments which bike earned your respect today. Ride safe, and I'll see you in the next one.